All right, this is King Bucho. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. Post-fight show, Sunday show. We're going to be talking about what happened yesterday. So we had the two big fights. The first one was Zhang, who stopped Joyce in the sixth round. And also we had Richardson Hitchens, the up-and-coming boxer who defeated the veteran William Zepeda. So we're gonna talk about that. And first, shout out to everybody in the chat: Hawker Mustang, Jesus M, JDA, Joe, Urban Productions, Alfredo Contreras, Sursayer. What else do we have here? Never Sober, Knockout Ned, Earl Stevens, Fluffy Toaster 89. Guys, welcome to the show. Let's get this party started. We're gonna open the phone lines in maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and yep, we're gonna start talking about what happened yesterday right now. BDA and Gonzalo are already here. Guys, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. Let's talk about, again, we had a show. Oh, by the way, guys, yesterday we had a show and we're going to upload it after this one. And I mean, upload it on Spotify. All right. All right, let's begin. Let's hear BDA because we didn't hear your thoughts on the Zhang Joyce fight.
Very generous of you. Bucho, how am I sounding here? Am I coming through nicely?
Yeah, just a bit loud. Let me just lower for volume. Okay, you're good.
Oh, are the peas popping? How about the siblings? All right. Well, listen, enough technical whatchamacallits. The Zhang fight and the... by the way, you mentioned, well, you said William Zepeda. It's Jose Zepeda.
Jose Zepeda. Yeah.
Right. But, I mean, the fight, look, we've said it before. It was a bad style matchup for Joyce. Joyce's game has always been, I'll take your shot and I'll keep poking you with my slow but heavy thoughts. Because, you know, he's a 260-plus pound guy. Especially yesterday, he was 281, I believe. And that's always been his game. I'm going to take your big shots. Even if you hurt me early, I'm just going to keep on coming. That type of style ends up being taxing on the body, and it can't catch up to a guy. And also the kryptonite to that style is a guy who not only hits hard, who actually hits fast or who has very good timing and can smother the other, the slower guys, pressure fighters' slow attack. And that's what Zhang did in the first fight. Whenever Joyce would come back with something, he would get real close to Joyce and sort of smother that work. This time, he didn't even have to do that, Zhang did, because Joyce was trying to box him from the outside. And, you know, when he came in at 281 at the weigh-in, I said, okay, most of us thought he's going to pressure more. That's why he came in so heavy, because he thinks that extra bulk is going to allow him to absorb the shots. Instead, no, he tried to box the guy from the outside. Slower. Got 281, now he's slower. How's he going to outbox Zhang? And ultimately, he was too busy watching out for the left hands that he missed the right hand. Also, if you watch that sequence when the right hand from Zhang landed, you can see Joyce's left hand all the way down to his hip. I mean, just bad technique overall. Just goes to show you when people go, yeah, but this guy's a silver medalist or that guy's a bronze medalist. That doesn't mean jack shit, man. Doesn't mean you're proficient technique.
Especially in the heavyweight division. Especially in the heavyweight division. I mean, we have Deontay Wilder as a bronze medalist. I mean,
exactly.
You know, heavyweights are weird, especially those. Yeah, heavyweights, super heavyweights in the Olympics, in the amateur. Sometimes you're just really big guys that manage to win a medal. It's not that impressive. I don't know. Just my opinion. Joe Joyce came in 22 pounds heavier than last time.
Yeah, that was insane.
Does that make sense?
I don't know what.
No, that's thinking. Sense. What the fuck?
Yeah, well, he was 260 something, I think, the last one, or 270 maybe. I mean, at best, whatever, let's say 10 pounds, but I think it was 15 or more pounds overweight. Now, that's the thing, though, in terms of the stoppage. The guy got dropped hard. And, you know, if you think about Foreman versus Lyle, Foreman sort of that's the back and forth affair that they had. Foreman got dropped bad, too, and he got up and he was able to come back. But Joyce ain't Foreman. So that, you know, when people raise that example, it's like, you know, we're getting into hypotheticals. The point is, was the stoppage fair? That's the bad thing about boxing. Just like with this, when you leave it up to these referees to leave it at their discretion to enforce certain rules or whatnot, it's like clinching. Some guys are on that right away, and now the guy's allowed the clinching, even though the rules state wrestling is forbidden. And the same thing here in terms of the count. It's not a 10-second count, it's a 10 count. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? It's like it depends a little bit, the small difference there for the count. But Joyce barely got up. He was on wobbly legs. Do I think he should have been given a chance to continue? Yeah, I think so. You know me. I want to see guys flatline. That's what they want for the most part. They want to be given the chance to go all out. Joyce didn't complain the last time, right after the stoppage with the eye. And then I believe he did end up complaining later on. I don't know, maybe if his handlers told him, hey, you got to complain, man. This time he didn't complain either. And I don't know if he's going to change his mind afterwards. But whether the count was quick or not, the guy he was looking bad, man. And again, he's not George Foreman. He can't take you out with one shot. So I don't know. I'm a little bit ambivalent, but be that as it may, he was getting out. He didn't do anything before the fight, right, Butcher Gonzalo? I mean, if you would have told me, okay, he's got a chance because he's putting it on Zhang and it's back and forth. It wasn't. It was one-sided affair, so I'm kind of ambivalent.
One-sided affair, it was becoming a repeat of the first fight with an additional spiciness in the sense that he got dropped, which we didn't see that happen in the first fight. So it was just getting worse for Joyce. I don't know. I don't see any controversy here. Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everything BDA said. I mean, yeah, for the most part, I think it's right on the money. He was too worried of getting caught with that straight left, and I can see why. I understand. Doesn't change anything. I mean, not only was he not looking to get caught because he was going to lose a round or get hurt, he had that fresh cut, which he was probably concerned that it was going to reopen. So he had to do everything to get away from the right hand, all the while, to get away from that left hand, all the while stepping away from Zhilei Zhang's left and not taking into consideration that in boxing you have two hands. And I mentioned it. In the prediction. You know, you gotta be concerned about that. Those looping lefts, the shots to the body, and also the right hook. And he caught him with the right hook. So man, it's one of those things. It's like he looked kind of amateurish. Not only was he heavier, but he was hesitating. He was hesitating because he didn't want to get hit. And when you hesitate, you lose a step. And you're more vulnerable.
Nope. Did we lose Gonzalo? I think we lost Gonzalo there.
Yeah.
By the way, super chat. Thank you, Uriah Smith. He says the crazy China lover caller must be celebrating. I think he's talking about Shadowban. Yeah, Shadowban must be celebrating that Zhang won. Representing China.
He's not a China lover, by the way.
Yeah.
He's not a China lover. He just, he points out the fact that some people blame China for everything.
Yeah.
He's a China respecter.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So we lost Gonzalo. We lost you there for a moment. So I don't know. Maybe log out, log back in. Never Sobers. Any thoughts on this fight? The Zhang.
You talking about Zhang and Joyce?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see it going any other way unless there was absolute corruption and they paid off Zhang to take a dive. I didn't expect Joyce to go down so fast. I didn't expect him to go in there trying to back foot bitch it and think he could slickster his way to a win against Zhang. I don't know how you're going to change your style at age 38 when you don't have any of that there. But, I mean, he had to try something. He couldn't come in the same way, but it's like it just ended up worse for him. Zhang's really good, dude. He's fun to watch, I guess.
Yeah, and the future for Zhang is, well, the following. I read somewhere on BBC.
I heard somewhere that they might, I don't know if I was listening to Eddie Hearn talk about it, but they might put Zhang in there with Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua spoke about, like, he'd be interested in that fight. And I think Zhang beats him all day.
Why would Joshua be interested in that fight? That's very interesting.
Someone he knocked out before in the amateurs.
Oh, he knocked out Zhang in the amateurs?
I think he took gold from him.
Yeah, he beat him in the Olympics in the either the semifinal or he had 4 bouts in the Olympics. And I think he beat Zhang. But it's interesting though because Zhang does have. I mean, he just took out the guy who had one of the best chins in the division. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he could take out Joshua with one shot. The difference is Joshua's got quicker hands than Joyce. He actually has a good jab and all that. It's just, I made a video. I would encourage people to go watch it about Joshua's state of mind, whether some of those problems are being exaggerated by boxing fans and the boxing establishment, or, long story short, I still think Joshua has a lot left in the gas tank to score some big wins. And listen, Zhang, yeah, okay, he looked very good, but people are sort of, maybe some people, not everybody, but some people could be falling into the trap of thinking this guy's invincible. He's 40 years old, man. He's 40 years old.
He's 40 years old.
I thought he won the Hrgovic fight, but there was a point there where he had to. You could tell he was conserving his energy because he couldn't fucking go for all 12 rounds or fight every minute of every round, and that's when he got outworked. So there's a section there of certain fights where a younger guy can take the play away from him.
Absolutely. I keep saying it's a Zhang era. Zhang, I can't pronounce his fucking name. Zhang era, but. I'm just fucking around here. I mean, the guy is 40 years old, but he's very dangerous still. And I do want to see him fight a Joshua. No, actually, a Fury or a Usyk. And by the way, it says here in an article from the BBC that a shot against the WBO champion, which is Usyk, is unlikely to happen until the middle of next year at the earliest. So, because of that, Zhang apparently wants to fight Tyson Fury. He said, do you want me to shut Tyson Fury up? He asked the question. Do you want me to shut Tyson Fury up? Guys, do you want to see that?
No.
Why not?
Because if Fury fights Zhang, he's blatantly ducking Usyk in that fight. If he's fighting a boxer, if he's not fighting John Jones, if he's not fighting Francis Ngannou, he needs to be fighting Usyk.
That's true. Yeah, that's true, though.
I can't agree with every was there.
Yeah, it's a unification fight. This is what people want to see, a one champion. And
but hold on.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun to see Zhang fight Fury, and then after he beats him, he sends him to a re-education camp or something like that? Some sort of to get him back on the right track.
He's gonna turn him into a communist.
He's got a better shot. He's a better boxer than Deontay Wilder, and he's heavier, right? He obviously hits harder than Fury, so he's going to take Fury shots, and he's a tall man too. So he's going to sneak in his punches as well. Because like I mentioned earlier, and you guys know, the fucking Zhilei Zhang is deceptively fast for a giant. And if Wilder dropped him 5 times, you don't think that Zhilei Zhang can drop him once?
Good point. I mean, that left, the right hook looked fucking powerful as fuck. I mean, that lands on anybody in any heavyweight, and they're gonna go down. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, Hrgovic,
he also hits hard with the right hand, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we saw that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hrgovic went down from a right hook in the first round, I believe, against Zhang, but afterwards he didn't go down again. So, I mean, let's not start going again like the Wilder fans where they go, well, if he touches him once, whoever he touches is going down.
No, but listen, there was a caller yesterday that I hope he calls back today who said that there's no way Zhang beats Wilder. He said Wilder's just going to land that. No, he said that. And I'm like, okay, but what if Zhang lands that same right hook that he landed against Joyce? I mean, is Wilder just going to take
let me say something about that.
And he's going to land that
because
Wilder has no defense. Go ahead.
Let me say something about that fight. That's a 50-50 fight for me because styles make fights. Zhang had the style for Joyce because he was always going to get there first. And conversely, the same thing with Wilder versus Zhang. Wilder is faster. Even though he's 37 himself, that speed is starting to go by the wayside. But he's still, nevertheless, because of his weight, he's usually remains faster than these 260 or plus pound guys like Zhang. So, in other words, this is a similar. This would be a similar fight to the Ortiz fight. It's whoever lands first. You live by the gun, you die by the gun. Now, Wilder was able to scrape by the skin of his balls in the first one. He almost got taken out in that one too. In the rematch, he was getting outboxed all 7 rounds. before he pulled the right hand out of his ass. In other words, if you just stand in front of Wilder, he's going to catch you eventually with that right hand. Now, whether you go down the first, so Zhang has to watch out, because even though I think he's heavier-handed than Ortiz, he's still slow too. He just stands there and tries to block the shots, and Wilder hits you on the forehead, it's going to discombobulate you. I'm not saying he takes you out with one shot. No, nobody.
Yeah,
can
but
really do
BDA,
that.
who's faster, Zhang or Ortiz?
I think Zhang's still faster, even though he's 40, but not by that much. Not by that much.
I think he throws more punches
And I
than
think
Ortiz.
specifically, BDA is talking about when it comes to catching, right? BDA throwing, yeah, I think Zhilli Zhang's faster, but catching, they're probably equally slow with the quickness to move out of the way of a punch.
I just find
But
Zhang,
can I say one last
he's
thing?
more fluid.
One last thing about that. Wilder, like I said, Wilder is older than when he was against Ortiz, and let's not forget he has been very inactive. And the last times we saw him in the ring, out of his 3 fights, 2 of those were obliterations where he took a lot of damage. So at 37, like I said, he might not be as fast as he was against Ortiz, and he's taking 2 severe beatings. So
in the chat, Loki Zim, he says Wilder and southpaws also. Can't see Zhang losing, to be honest. That's a good point. The southpaw aspect might throw Wilder off. And like you said, BDA, Wilder's also getting old. I mean, he's 38. This isn't the same Wilder that fought Ortiz in 2015 or something. Or when was the first fight? I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
People talk about Wilder like as if he's 31 or something and he has like a lot of time, or if he's not already past it. It's very obvious that he never really had it and he's already past it now, whatever he had.
Exactly.
Yo, Bucho, you're right, man. I thought he was gonna be I thought he still had a long time to be 30. He's gonna be 38 in October.
Yeah.
He never was willing to face like real punchers. I mean, King Kong Ortiz cracks, but I mean he never was. He never thought that Tyson Fury, he called them pillow hands in the beginning. And the guys that he should have fought, that come to find out like later, they were kind of chainy, like Deontay Wilder and Dillian White. They're punchers, but he never wanted a risk against those guys. Not even now. When those guys are more known, he probably should fight them to close out his career. You think he's going to fight Zhang? A real puncher that obviously just by size alone, you could surmise that he can take a punch?
No, he won't fight him. Why would he anyways? He's looking for a big fight. And Zhang is not a big fight. Definitely not. He's looking for a Joshua and a title shot. That's it. Or else he would have been fighting already. Right? Because he hasn't been fighting because he's not getting the fight that he wants, the big fights, the money fights. He's trying to cash out.
Yeah, he's still trying to get checks that he was getting when he fought Tyson Fury, and the money's just not there for him. And without his undefeated record, he's finding out, like a lot of these Americans, that there ain't shit without that O. And
exactly.
Yeah, we'll see who he fights next. I really think he's trying to get that Joshua fight.
He's trying to cash out. If he was serious about becoming a champion, he would be fighting more often and trying to make a case for him of getting a title shot. But
he's in bed with these folks. Like they save a spot for him at the table. It's not because he's under delusions of grandeur. Someone's telling him, like, just hold on, bro, we got you, and we'll put you in there. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even have to fight Andy Ruiz, and he still got that mandatory spot that he would have got if he beat him.
But
so
do you think Wilder
someone's
wants
telling
to
this
fight?
in the
That's possible. Yeah, that's very likely. But do you think Wilder wants to fight? Or
Hey,
he's
Bucho,
happy
you're
with
sounding
just-
low, man.
Oh, sorry. Do you think
I don't
that?
think he wants to fight him.
Yeah. Do you think Wilder just sitting around because he's being told to? Do you think Wilder wants to fight?
Not unless it's like a check that he got against Tyson Fury, or else he would have fought Andy.
Yeah, that's weird, huh? Because they've been talking about every once in a while. I check the news and I see something pop out. It says, Joshua Hearn says Joshua and Wilder looking likely for the end of the year. Then it turns into early next year, January, and then it turns into you don't hear anything again, and then you hear rumors that the fight is percolating. I don't know, man. I do think Never Sobers is correct, man. I think Wilder, I don't know. He wants that big money fight, and he probably knows that Joshua one is right there. And there also, his handlers are probably telling him, look, that's the next fight. You can beat this guy. Look at how he's looked in his last 2-3 performances. You can take him out, and you can regain a top spot in the heavyweight division. and it's going to be for a lot of money, probably in Saudi Arabia. So I think that's the fight that they're holding out for. But that's the other thing, though. Activity counts. Activity matters. We've been trying to say that for a while now as well. Especially now.
I'm sorry, BD, I cut you off. Go ahead, bro.
Well, yeah, no, especially now. He's the last time he fought was last October. It was less than a round. Before that, it was 2 beatings. He's 38 years old now. Meanwhile, Joshua has fought fought twice this year.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't think what's his name, Wilder. I don't think he's looking to stay active. I don't think he's looking to cement anything. I think he's looking for one big check, and that's Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia. I don't think he's looking past anything other than that.
And you could also say that he's probably waiting. He's probably waiting for Usyk. Some of the tough. Well, there's only 2, Usyk and Fury, but more specifically Usyk, because he's a great boxer, to fall off, to eventually lose, because he is smaller, and if you keep fucking fighting often, you're bound to lose probably. So he's probably reasoning, if this guy loses and the titles are in Fury's hands or somebody else that's more of a winnable fight for me, I'll wait for that.
Well, that's a terrible plan.
I think we've seen that happen with Fulton, where it was inactivity, and he wanted that big fight against Inoue, and it cost him. We saw it with Errol Spence too. In other words, what I'm trying to say is it's almost as if it appears as if they're trying to just cash these guys out. Because again, they don't bring in that much money either. Errol Spence, people keep saying he's a star, or at least he was a bigger star than Crawford at the time they fought, and therefore the A side. Remember that whole thing? I'm the A side, and I'm the A side. But in other words, he was a 300 at best. He was a 300,000 pay-per-view fighter. That's not a lot. So it's almost like it goes back to what Boxing Chief said a while back. He says with the PBC now they're cutting inventory, and we're seeing rumors now that they might get rid of Showtime Boxing. It's not going to be migrating to the Paramount app. And if it exists and if it continues to exist, it's only going to be on a pay-per-view basis, which I don't know how that would work. So it seems like, they are cutting inventory. And look, again, Wilder, he like Never Sober says, he's not a 31-year-old anymore. He's not a 21-year-old prospect either. He's going to be 38 in a month. They're going to cash him out too. And I think that's what's happening with the Joshua fight. I think it's a bit of a cash out.
Can I mention something you touched upon here about some people who claim that Spence Jr. was a star? I believe that a real boxing star is still a star even after losing a fight. That's the power of being a star. That it doesn't matter if you lose, you're still a star. Sort of like Conor McGregor in the UFC, where even though he was losing, he's still a superstar. So I'm just pointing out here that Spence Jr. was never really a star. Like he was a big hype job. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, also, I'm gonna bring up Canelo, right? But I feel like Canelo's age is a subject of conversation more than someone like Wilder. And then the guys that he's fighting that are older than him, like say Jermell is a little bit older than him, and that doesn't even factor in the conversation when they bring this up. Wilder's 38. They're still acting like this fool can do another fight with Fury. He can take out Joshua. He can take out Andy. He can collect all the belts. And I don't make a historic run in the heavyweight division. I don't get where these talking points come from, bro. It's like nonsense to me, dude.
It's hypocrisy.
Good point,
That's what it is. Hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's true. They talk like, man, Canelo's going down, man. He's fucking. Look at Wilder. He took 2 fucking super beatings in 2 out of his last 3 fights. He's inactive, 38 years old. He always realized, look, what are Wilder's strengths that 1-2? Speed and power. That's going down the drain. I mean, he's always going to, at the heavyweight division, you're always going to have an extended lifespan with punching power. And also, he remains faster, I believe, than most of these 6 feet plus 250-pound guys. But nevertheless, anybody that can keep him on the back foot doesn't really have that much to worry about. So he's 38, man. He's not 28.
BDA, does it matter how you lose a fight? Does it matter? Because, Canelo has 2 losses. One against Floyd in 2013. Canelo just turned 23 that year, I believe. And then he lost to a light heavyweight in Bivol, an undefeated boxer. And Errol Spence gets destroyed in his first major big fight. You're right, in a defining fight. He didn't land anything. He got destroyed. So,
well, that's why I always say that thing, which about how when Canelo lost to Bivol, some people make fun of him.
He got whooped. He got whooped though. He got whooped.
Yeah, he got whooped. Lomachenko got whooped apparently against Teofimo Lopez. Then when Spence, but when Spence gets his ass beat, dropped multiple times, I only landed 2 clean shots that I can remember in that fight. It's not he got exposed. It's, man, what a great. He dared to be great, man. Let's give him his flowers. Let's give him a round of applause.
And Crawford is the next coming
heart.
of Jesus. Crawford is the next coming of Jesus. Like, no, it's because Crawford.
That's
You don't understand,
Muhammad.
BDA. No, BDA, you don't understand. It's not that Spence was like a little bit hyped. It's that Crawford is so good, man. Like, he managed to destroy Spence. Nobody can do that to Spence now, right? Only Crawford can.
He's Black Muhammad. Black Muhammad. You know how people call Lomachenko White Jesus? This Black Muhammad.
Exactly.
He's gonna rewrite history.
Just the hypocrisy is ridiculous. All right, let's move on. Let's move to the other fight where we had, what's his name again? Hitchens. What's his first name? Hold on. Richardson.
Richardson.
He's 17-0 now. He's from Brooklyn, New York. He fought in Florida, Orlando, Florida, and he beat Jose Zepeda with the scorecards of 120, 108, 120, 108, and 119, 109. Wait, no, that's not the fight. That's not the. Oh yeah, it was a 12 rounder, right? Yeah. Okay, fuck. Forget my notes. Point is, he won in my opinion, a boring fight. I think Hitchens could have gotten Zepeda out of there if he really tried, but he didn't want to do it. This is my thing. This is the difference between some boxers that actually go for the stoppage and boxers that don't want to go for a stoppage because they're too scared, or maybe they don't have the skills necessary to go for a stoppage. Who wants to say something about this fight?
Well, I believe that's what he kind of alluded to. He mentioned that he was going to go. If the knockout was there to be had, he was going to try his best, basically promising the fans an exciting fight. But then after the fight concluded, he said, okay, I felt Zepeda's power and I don't want to take no risk. Basically what Shakur said, he said it too. But I don't really think he felt Shakur's correction. I don't think he felt Zepeda's power really. He's just, he was just basically lying, promising that he was going to give an exciting fight all the while. He just didn't want to take any risk because I didn't really see Zepeda landing anything cleanly. So that's all scripted. In other words, the guy's a good fighter. He's difficult.
Yeah.
But like you said, Bucho, he could have probably got him. He probably could have gotten him out of there if he would have continued to pursue and walk him down like he showed in spots and the latter part of the fight. But he didn't keep the pedal to the metal because why? Okay, is he really that talented? Oh yeah, he's good. But if you don't want to offer too much and take risk, it's because basically you're afraid to get caught. Now, does that mean you're talented as much as you claim to be? Probably no, because you don't want to take no risk. The guy's good, but I'm just going to have to say Zepeda overrated. It's very easy to overrate a fighter once he gets 2 good wins like Baranchik and the other guy. The Puerto Rican kid.
The homosexual? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy to overrate those guys, but he was throwing one shot at a time. They were like clubbing shots, not necessarily straight punches, and he wasn't like really like closing the distance and trying to like put pressure in bunches and like punches and bunches. If he would have did what he was doing, if he would have had more like a Chino Maidana approach, where I'm throwing these clubbing hooks, we'll throw more. Don't throw one and see what happens, and throw another and see what reaction you get. Just throw 2-3 punches together and then find out, because that's what was his approach. Oh, let me throw this hook, and if I catch him, let me see what happens. A little too late for that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about Zepeda. First of all, look, some people are calling Hitchens now bitchins. I'm not gonna go that far. I mean, it is, look, some guys are seek and destroy fighters who can mix skill with defense and power. Other guys can't do it. So it's like when people used to criticize Haney, man, I want to see him go for it, blah blah blah. And then when he did go for it, it showed you that he doesn't know how to, and he doesn't have the chin to do it. Maybe that's why he doesn't do it. So at some point, you got to accept what type of fighter you have in your. Now, he had a tough, complicated fight against Argenis Mendes, I believe during the pandemic. So he's still a work in progress at 25 years of age. Zepeda, he deserves blame too for never becoming a complete fighter. He was a guy that was content to make guys look bad and he was the almost guy. Well, I almost beat him. Now, if I would have, even when he fought Pedraza, he could have actually done more, but he was content to just, he won that one, but he was closer than it should have been. Same thing against an old Hank Lundy. He looked awful in that one. That's why the guy that turned gay, remember he knocked out the Puerto Rican, what's his name again? Vargas, and he turned him gay. And that guy, I mean, that's the fight that made a lot of people go, whoa, Zepeda really is that superior. I mean, you can't sleep on him, but he doesn't know how to put pressure, and you saw that last night too as well. He no jabs. He was just walking in, and then Hitchens was on the ropes, and he would lead with a sloppy wide left hook.
That's because Hitchens is so good, though.
No, but listen, I give Hitchens credit because he's a fast twitch guy, and if you don't mix it up with him, if you don't throw any feints or change levels or jab, you know what I mean? If you're not a complete fighter, he's just going to keep you turning. Now, the criticism I do have of Hitchens is that this was a bad look because last year we saw Progre not only outbox Zepeda, but once he really, had him worked over, he started laying it on him and took him out. He turned it up. Hitchens didn't do that. In fact, his corner kept telling him, what did they say exactly? I forget exactly what they said, but something on the lines of play it safe. Don't go overboard.
Oh my God.
Hey,
oh my God.
He must be chinny, bro. They must be scared of him taking a shot.
Hey, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And this is going
I wanted to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to say about BDA bringing up Josue Vargas. He went from hype job on his own to rim jobs on OnlyFans, right?
Oh, man.
Real quick, there was a guy. Remember, there was a guy a couple of years ago. I keep saying that story. There was this rugby player who was in practice. He was showing off and everything. So he did a backflip. He hit himself on the head, dropped him on his head, and got knocked out. And then when he woke up, he turned gay. That's what he said. All of a sudden, he turned home, and he blamed. I'm not kidding. Look it up on Google.
Pretty hard, bro.
He claims that it was the brain damage. I'm thinking, hey, maybe that's what it was too with Jose Vargas. The CTE or whatever made him gay.
That don't box people. I was gonna go. So you guys are going back to the point that Gonzalo made about the Hitchens not trying to take any risks. Now, if that's his type of mentality, how is he? Imagine when he fights a puncher in the 140-pound division. How is he gonna be like? If he was kind of afraid or didn't want to take any risk with a guy like Zepeda, again, imagine he's fighting Progre. He's gonna be boring as fuck.
When he did show in glimpses that he could walk Zepeda down, I said, man, this guy's stronger than when he probably believes in his mind. Because when he was putting the pedal to the metal, you could actually tell he got some power. But why is he hesitating? Why is he not confident or playing it too safe? That's the thing. Those questions need to be answered.
Yep.
Probably in sparring and in actual fights in order for your skill level to become better or greater. Right? When Canelo fought Golovkin, after that, he went on the warpath because he understood I can actually do a lot of things that maybe I wasn't too convinced before. Many other fighters too. Same shit.
There was a Hitchinson, like I mentioned, when he fought Argenis Mendez, who was, I think, 38 at the time. And he already lost a bunch of times by knockout too. If you watch that fight, you'll see Hitchens again content to just box from the outside. And even when it seemed like the fight was way too close for his liking or way closer than it should have been, doesn't really go for it that much. So that's, Butcher, you bring up the good question. If he fights a guy like, let's say, Progre or, like a Barboza type guy, and it's even, and they're just looking at each other and it's one punch at a time, and at some point, one guy has to put the pedal to the metal, as Gonzalo said, and take it to a next level. He doesn't seem to have that. But again, he's 25. I'm going to be fair here because I have seen guys improve.
Right.
And, Amo Williams, if we can talk about him later on, he's a different story. But, Hitchens, look, he was completely boring. Like I Am Your Leader was asking on Never Sober's stream on his servers, like, how are you going to market this guy? That's the other problem, though.
That's what I was saying on Discord. Exactly. If this guy thinks he's gonna become a pay-per-view star, just fighting like that, he got another thing coming. Yeah. Because reality is gonna take him. Yeah.
It's important because his pay scale goes up. If he's exciting, he's gonna make more money, and the fans, he's gonna get more fans. And then look, this is what happens with Shakur. People think that guys like him, and you could say even Hitchens now, that people duck them because they're this extremely like incredible talent. In other words, but the reason that they don't want to face those guys because they don't take risks. And when it comes to like chasing a dude down that's not offering you anything, most likely that dude beats you round by round. So you're gonna be down on the scorecards, and at the end of the day, you're gonna get ripped off. And while he moves forward, but then we're stuck with the fighter that's boring and keeps on winning. Then that's why fighters don't want to fight fighters like that.
Yeah, the worst part is going to be if this guy starts demanding a lot of money to take a risk. It's like, listen, it's unfortunately boxing is a business. You have to attract people and be something of an attraction to be able to deserve a payday. What he's been offering his last couple of fights, and his best. He also fought another dude. I forget his name. It was on the PBC, I think. He fought a guy from Baltimore. I think it was one of Tank Davis's stablemates, and it was the same thing that you saw last night. It's he's content to just step back and not increase the pressure or go for the knockout. And look, again, if some guys can do, like if he knows something we don't about himself, maybe he's been knocked out a bunch of times in sparring or hurt, and he doesn't have the mechanics or the chin to put pressure. Okay, it is what it is. But let's not mince words here and claim that he's this boxing wizard. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
We're not going to claim that. That Zone will, and they already started with their campaign on the inflating the Hitchens balloon, as I want to call it now. The Hitchens balloon. They want to inflate that balloon. You saw it with the commentators, the way they were talking about him. The fight was boring, and they tried to make it. They're trying to make you believe, the viewer, make you believe that you're watching some sort of like young, great boxer. Like you're watching the beginning.
Well, can I say something though? Can I say something about that? Like, there's a guy in the chat, Blame Boxing, says you're making it seem like this is unfair. It's boxing. You're supposed to be smart. Progress was smart against Zepeda, and then he turned it up and knocked him out. I mean, you can be both.
Right.
See, these people make it an either or. If you go for the knockout, you're an idiot. No, you can do it smartly. I mean, Golovkin made a career out of that.
Media, do you need skills, but do you need certain skills to accomplish that?
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, you need the mechanics to be able to do it. You need to be able to tuck your chin in. You need to be able to work your way in. See, a lot of these guys, like, for example, people say Jaron is a complete package. He can fight inside, outside. Yeah, he can fight on the inside when you take it to him. But when you make him chase you, and they give these guys a taste of their own medicine with the ass style and that back foot bitch style, all of a sudden they don't know what to do. So there's a difference between knowing how to fight on the inside and how to work your way in on the inside. And that's what's going to be interesting about Hitchens in the future. Once a guy starts out boxing him on the outside, or not even just necessarily out boxing him, but both guys boxing at the same level. And someone has to step it up and take it to the next level to
the guy
get an
who's able to
advantage.
step it up is going to he's going to win the fight. Exactly.
Yeah, but I haven't seen him that from him when he needed to, and he's been in difficult. Like I said, Argenis Mendes fight.
Did Hitchens look a little bit bigger than Zepeda? I think he looked.
Yeah, he looked bigger. That's the thing too.
That's why I was like,
he's kind of reminding. He looked like Vernon Forrest actually, like real tall and don't punch like Vernon. Rest in peace. That dude that got killed back in the early 2000s. Yeah, sometimes you just need a little courage too. That'll make the difference. Willing to like risk, because he got the dimensions to him. Mm-hmm. If he's courageous, I mean, you could say that Zepeda could be as courageous as like he could have like a big heart, but he's always gonna be like the shorter man leaping in, not having the good game plan. I don't know what's wrong with the corner. That also, Manny Robles. Why couldn't they give him better instructions too? Yeah, but he could actually be braver and utilize his dimensions in his foot speed and hand speed, and that'll make the difference too.
Yeah, like a little bit more courage, and because I really think that Hitchens could have knocked this guy, could have knocked out Zepeda if he really wanted to, but maybe he doesn't have that little extra that Mr. BDA was talking about. Sorry. All right, we gotta move on here. Do you guys want to talk about Conor Benn? He's now 22-0. He defeated Rodolfo Orozco in a 10-round unanimous decision. 99-91, 99-91, and 96-94. Some people were talking about this scorecard. They was like, what the fuck, 96-94? Like, some people had Rodolfo Orozco losing every round. What do you guys think? What do you guys, your thoughts on this fight?
Hey Gonzalo, didn't you have that haircut from Orozco? The same
Yeah, the
haircut
mullet.
in the early 90s?
But maybe when I was 15, 13, 14.
He had a mullet.
I knew it.
Back in the
You know
day.
why he lost BDA? Because he had a mullet. You don't fucking fight with a mullet, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
the
gotta
thing.
say, man, I like Conor Benn. I don't think too much about whether he was doping or not. Right? That's too much mental gymnastics for me. I just like watching the fights. But he was obviously smaller than the other guy.
Oh
The
yeah.
other guy, I think I made a mistake and I said that he had got knocked out twice. But no, he has never been knocked out. He's got 3 draws with 3 losses, but he has never got knocked out. This guy was tall, he was strong, bigger than Conor Benn. I didn't realize he was 5'7.5". And this dude's been willing to fight super welters and middles.
He's crazy, man.
This fight took place at what, 147, right? The dude
No,
can take
one
a punch. He doesn't get flustered under
Gonzalo.
pressure. So I got to commend him for that. And he can crack. Make no mistake. Just because he didn't knock out El Sinaloita, this motherfucker can crack, man.
Yeah,
I'm
but
a fan of
Gonzalo,
Conor
this was our super welterweight fight.
Okay.
So 154. I mean, I think Ben looks like a junior welterweight. To be honest, and the
He's
power.
little, bro.
He's little.
He thinks he's Canelo.
He does think he really believes in his power, but fighting these bigger guys, the power's not there. I think he should.
First of all,
he has to move back down, man.
yeah, first of all, this mullet thing has to stop. Having long hair in the ring, it's a bad look because if you just get touched up a little bit, that hair moves all over the place and it makes people think that you're getting hit with harder shots than they really are. Number 2, you're doing the crowd a disservice. I mean, these people went out of the way to pay for a ticket, drive there, park, buy some items in the concession stand, which are usually overpriced, and you're going to pay them back by having this fucking dirty haircut and it's spraying them with sweat. Imagine you're eating your nachos, you're drinking your beer, and all of a sudden, paf, a bunch of sweat drops all over your food. That's going to be disgusting, and I would root again. I would hope that fighter dies in the ring, because that is an affront to everybody out there who works for their money and
Don't mess
spends
with
it
your
giving it back to these guys.
Yeah, like don't mess with my nachos, man. But yeah,
Exactly.
that
Now-
didn't help. Yeah.
Disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Now, I will say this: Conor Benn, he's a little Wolverine in there. Like Gonzalo said, 5'7" tall, okay, maybe 5'7.5". This guy is a real welterweight. All these other guys, Stanionis, Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, who else am I missing? Spence, Crawford. These guys that fucking weigh 180 pounds when they're not training. Meanwhile, you got a little Conor Benn knocking these fools out. And okay, the whole steroid thing, you're gonna really tell me these other dudes are not doing anything illegal to get down to 147? So Conor Benn, it was a
Witch hunt?
fight to take away the rust.
Oh,
Was it?
I know. Was it a witch hunt over there in the UK?
I don't know about that. I haven't really looked into it too much. At the end of the day, I do believe he's probably guilty of whatever it is they're accusing him of. Just based on my proclivity to believe that these guys are all on something, all these top guys. But Conor Benn is a Wolverine. He's got good defense. I like the fact that he's willing to go to fight. I think he could have taken this guy out had he focused with the body, but that the officer's target was too enticing. That he said, "Fuck it, I'm just going to try to hit him harder and harder and harder," and he got hypnotized and mesmerized by that. It's happened to a lot of other fighters. Could have gone worse for him had he really petered out in terms of stamina. But he did what he had to, shook the rust off, and we'll see what happens if he moves up to fight Eubank or if he stays at 147.
Yeah, Bucho, I think because he didn't knock this guy out doesn't mean he don't have power. He kept trying, and I think like what BDA is saying, he was mesmerized. Those are shots that would have knocked out maybe 80% of other fighters. But this guy was 6'1", had never been knocked out, came to the United States. He was losing every round, I think. But Conor Benn was landing some heavy shots and actually had him hurt to the body. So that's the thing. I believe the power's still there. Should he move down to 47? Probably. I don't know what his reasoning is behind that. But he's powerful, in my opinion.
Yeah, he hurt him at some point, round 8 or 9, I think. He really hurt Orozco, where Orozco didn't know where the fuck he was. I don't know. He landed so many shots that I'm like, okay, at some point Orozco should have gone down. To me, that's just it's the fact that he's fighting bigger guys. But we'll see. We have to see Conor Benn fight more junior middleweights to see if
How do you think?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, how do you think he would do against someone like Triple G? I remember here reading something he was talking about. He was talking about some of the names that are put out there, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to do that fight with Eubanks Jr. and even Triple G's name has been mentioned. I could beat him." You guys
The
think
thing,
he'd be able to fuck with him at 160, even if he's 40?
how good is Triple G now? That's the thing, though. I mean, the power's probably still there, but he's probably looking like slow as fuck now. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Gonzalo, what do you think about Triple G now? What was his last fight?
Yeah,
I don't
he's
even
real
remember.
slow now. It's slow on the trigger. Like, but still, the hard thing, the crazy thing about Triple G, he can take punches. So even though you hit him, he's still gonna get a piece of you. But yeah, he's 40 years old, man. He's not quick any longer.
Yeah, that's a bit of a crazy fight. I think Conor Benn again undersized at 147, at least just on the height, and now he says he wants to jump in, and you know, I guess Eubank Jr. That's the fight that I suspect is going to be next because there's just way too much money, too much British money, for that fight. So I think that's what they're going to go for, and I still don't know how that would look, man. I mean, that would be an insane size difference. But Eubank Jr. again, he's not even a fucking. He's not. Conor Benn is one of the best opponents he would have fought, regardless of size. Because Eubank Jr. has been very selective about who he fights. Liam Williams, even the Liam Smith fight was supposed to be a slam dunk, but he fucked up in the first fight. He should have. What we saw in the rematch is what should have occurred in the first fight, and even in the rematch, he was still a little shell shocked. You could tell that he didn't really know what to do. Once he
Welcome
realized this
to
fucking
Blog
guy's.
Talk Radio.
So that's when he realized that. Before as the phone lines are opening, Butcher's opening them up. I want to talk too about Ammo Williams. Now, Ammo Williams, I was watching him, long southpaw, quick hands, and I said, all right, there's work to be done there. You know, he's got some flaws, blah blah. Then I realized he's 27 already.
Yeah, I just checked. Yeah,
Hitchens is 20. Hitchens is 25. Okay, 2 years that makes a difference. 27. You know, it's like Deloy and Trinidad were 26 when they fought each other. They were already near Hall of Famers at that point. This guy, 27, and it's like, well, what have you done lately? And look. I know Rolls Royce. That's Steve Rolls. I know he's a tricky guy. He made Berlanga look ordinary. He did give Golovkin 4 good rounds before he got his ass knocked out. Who else did he give a good fight to? Did he fight Munguia? No.
No, I know he fought Berlanga.
It was just Berlanga, yeah. So he's a good opponent. I did like that Ammo Williams did try to pressure a little bit more, but that's another guy who Ammo Williams is too accustomed to fighting guys that are slower than him, and he can have his way with them. As soon as he found a guy who didn't give him a clean target, he has to work for it, and he doesn't really know how to work his way on the inside either. He was jumping in, and he got his ass caught with a couple of right hands jumping in. I'm thinking, man, if you would have fought a guy who wasn't 39 and who could hit hard, we could have seen a very different fight. So he needs to really change up a couple of things. But hey, he's a long fighter, southpaw, fast twitch muscles. Someone's going to really have to be a total package to be able to beat this guy convincingly.
I don't think he's that good, bro. I think that Ammo Williams is one of these dudes that Eddie Hearn found, and he heard that name Ammo Williams, and he's like, oh man, he's the real deal, just like he thought. What's that guy? Kevin Farmer was the real deal, just like he thought Devin Haney was the real deal, just like he thought Montana Love was the real deal. He's investing in these dudes because whatever he sees, like they look good against lesser opposition, but they won't go for it. And I think I've seen a fight of Ammo Williams where he robbed a guy already. I can't remember who.
Hadouken!
You think he looked good against Steve Rolls? This dude had to go to rehab because he was addicted to marijuana. He's fucking lame, bro. I don't want to see him fight.
Wait. Who went to rehab because of marijuana?
Ammo Williams.
What the fuck?
That has to be a big problem then. Like,
Yeah, Mayweather was speaking highly about him. They were slower. Mayweather was bringing him up about a year ago in one of Canelo's press conference. No, Tank Davis's press conferences. This is a guy you should be watching, Ammo Williams. I recall, but he is 27 now. And, you know, they refer to years as bullets. I even think there's a song called 16 or 18 with the bullet. So if this guy's Ammo and he's 27, he's running out of fucking ammunition. He's running out of bullets.
No. Hey, by the way, you gotta love some of the names of the guys he's fought. I mean, he fought a guy named Quadir Jenkins. He fought a guy called Jabrandon Harris. He also fought a guy named Quatavius Cash. I mean, listen, Those guys sound tough, man. So
Yeah,
you got to give him a
absolutely.
modicum of credit.
They all sound like rapper names.
He fought a bunch of
Yeah,
rappers.
yeah,
Hey,
Quantavious
guys,
Cash.
let's take a phone call here. 336, you're on the air. 336.
Yo, what's up? So I want to talk a little bit about the ass style real quick because Gonzalo made some really good points, and it kind of pertains to that fraud, Floyd Mayweather, that he's just a cocksucker. But anyways, he ducked slick, prime, athletic black American fighters that were good on the back foot their entire career, Lara, Williams, shit like that. And even when it comes to the head crackers of his day, in 2000, Shane Mosley, Floyd said some stupid shit, like he was going to try and beat Carlos Monzon's record, for most title defenses at 130. It's funny because the second Mosley moves up to fight De La Hoya in 2000, 2001, whatever it was, Floyd so happens to move up to fight Castillo. So he never wanted anything to do with Shane Mosley until he was a shot fighter. And when these guys don't offer you anything and they're just back foot bitching, and they got the longer reach than you, they're not trying to make it a fight. They're not the ring general. They're just throwing a couple counter shots here and there, stinking out the fucking joint. It's like, how much credit do we need to give these people? Do they need to be penalized for not taking the fight and making it a fight for being back foot dominant? Should you be penalized for that? At least Haney, even though he was a back foot princess his entire career, tried to impose his will on Loma. He failed miserably, but at least the dude is trying to actually, fight, not like a pussy anymore. I don't know. We're going to see how he looks against Prograis, but at least that guy tried. I mean, Hitchens just looked terrible. And Floyd was a one in a, it's never going to happen again. Nobody's going to watch another Floyd fighter ever again. They're not going to root for him to lose. That's what he was. He was a villain that they rooted for to lose. That's why Haney got his gift decision against Loma. The boxing establishment wants another black American villain. And people don't give a fuck about that shit no more. They don't care. So that's why the UFC and MMA has gotten so fucking big, especially towards the back end of Floyd's career and after his retirement, is because nobody wants to see this political BLM shit in boxing anymore. We're done with it. Like, that's reality. We're done with it. We don't want to see these back foot cucks, these back foot bitches get awarded shit boring ass decisions for not offering anything to their opponents. That's why people don't fight Shakira fucking Stevenson, that fucking nutcracker. That's why people don't fight these guys like Hitchens. I call them Cripchens and shit, because they fight like pussies, man. They don't come to win. They come to fucking.
Are you saying another Floyd Mayweather era would definitely and finally destroy boxing?
Yes. Well, it wouldn't happen. I mean, yeah, if it definitely, if it somehow happened, it would destroy the sport. But I think people are just done. I think they're just done with this shit, man. And they don't want to see this shit no more. You are gaslighting a fan if you tell them with a straight face Hitchens is a good fighter, or not necessarily he's a good fighter, but he's fun to watch, he's entertaining. You're lying to yourself just because the dude's got black skin like you. That's the reality. I'm rooting for that rat face fuck Sonny Edwards, that bald retard, to lose. I hope Bam Rodriguez knocks him the fuck out, and I'm white. He's a Latino. We're different fucking people, and I hope Sonny Edwards gets his ass destroyed. I hate fucking backfoot bitches. You deserve to get points deducted, or, you have to do far more than your opponent in that round to win it if you're just not going to initiate the fight. So some things need to be fucking changed in the sport, because this whole back foot cripping ain't it. It's ass. And it's funny, you brought up a good point. When Jaron Ennis, finally got the ass style put in his face against Karen, he couldn't figure a way to knock him out. He never came close to knocking him out. He lost 2 or 3 rounds of the fight, and every other fighter he fights that comes to actually win, well, I mean, yeah, fuck it. Karen came to run. Fuck those niggas. He fucking put it in their own face. Every other fighter Boots has fought, even though they've been bombs, have came to win, been front foot dominant at times. They got knocked the fuck out because they're there to be hit, The second, a guy like Jaron Ennis fights somebody, it will go happen. He looks like shit. So it takes skill to be able to knock out these back foot bitches too, or be able to, hurt them, do damage to them.
That's why I give a lot of credit.
That's all they do.
Yeah, exactly. People don't give credit enough credit to people who go for the stoppage. And I always bring up Golovkin because people criticize his career, who he fought, whatever. But I'm telling you, this guy was knocking out top contenders. He was destroying them. And then we see all these other boxers fighting the same level of opposition, and they go 12 rounds. with this type of boxers. So
Exactly.
knockout
Exactly.
is a skill, is an art. People need to respect knockout artists a little bit more.
Yep. Yeah, and even being front foot dominant, even initiating the offense is a skill. Being able to throw 3, 4, 5 at a time against a back foot grip, not trying to actually do anything to his opponent except stink out the joint. You know, and that's just an embarrassment to the sport. If people like Hitchens, you know, Shakira, Devin, hey, they're in the UFC, they'd be fucking cut. Even if they won fights, they would be cut because you have to bring an entertainment aspect, and they don't bring it. That's the reality of it. They only bring it when they fight entertaining fighters. So,
That's a good
yeah,
point.
fuck this style. The point system and the way the fights are scored and judged need to be evaluated as well. Because people should not be getting credit for not initiating the fight, not looking for a knockout, just coming to basically scam people that pay hard-earned money to go watch fights, not fucking back foot cucking.
All right,
That's all I gotta say on
we
that. I
gotta
had a
move
rant.
on. All right, thanks for the rant. Call back again next time, all right?
Yep.
See ya.
Yep.
All right, let's take another phone call here. 979, you're on the air. 979.
Hello, what's up? Mediator. It's Bruce from Houston
What's up?
calling in. And, yeah, I just want to talk about the Hitchens fight. And I saw, like, after the fight on Twitter, you know, everyone talks about how he has, like, the sweet science, you know? But I think, like, I think that's, like, wrong. Like, in my opinion, I feel like it's wrong because I feel like the sweet science should include every aspect of boxing, and that includes power, knockout power. The sweet science should be outboxing someone until you knock them out, not just pitching shutouts or just doing barely enough to win, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you do win fights and you are very hard to beat, but you're just not going to make any, you know, headlines, and you're not really going to make money and shit. So, Hitchens, I mean, he did a good job last night, but I don't see him getting a title shot anywhere near the future at all. Because nobody want to fight him, and he's not worth anything, really. So, his career is kind of just in the same spot. He really didn't move at all.
Oh, interesting point there. Interesting take. Anything else? Do you want to talk about the Zhang fight as well?
Yeah. Big Bang Zhang, man. I think right now, like, he's probably the best informed heavyweight in the division right now. I feel like, because the way he knocked out, you know, Joe Joyce, man, I predict that he was gonna knock him out faster in the first fight than the first fight, because I didn't think Joyce was gonna correct any of those mistakes in time. I didn't think his eye was gonna heal in time. But yeah, he got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah,
And I think he smokes Wilder, man. I think he'll knock out Wilder.
I agree. I'm with you, man. These people, I mean, sure, Wilder has a chance always, but I think Zhang knocks him the fuck out. I think Wilder should stay away from him if he wants like a big payday against Joshua or Fury or whatever. He should stay away from Zhang. Anything else, caller?
Well, man, I think Zhang could also be a payday too, man. I think he can make some money in China.
Oh,
China will probably pay him and an opponent real well. So he probably has some leverage now, if you ask me.
that's a good point. That's what I was asking on the last show. I was like, how big is he in China now? I want to know. I'm going to look it up. That's a great point.
I heard that after he knocked out Joyce in the first fight, he had like a clip with like 20 million views in China or some shit, like on the Chinese Twitter app or something like that. And it had a shitload of views. So he's making a name for himself out there.
You know
and
what?
he could be a good check.
We gotta check out Zhang on TikTok, see how popular he's there. All right, caller, we gotta move on, but thank you for calling, all right? Take care.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Go ahead, Never Sobers. I think you want to say something or somebody?
I was just saying, I was thinking about this guy, Richardson Hitchens. That's how you say his name, right? Richardson Hitchinson?
Yeah.
Or Richardson Hitchens?
Richardson Hitchens.
This guy right here, like I was saying, he looks like another one of these guys with that performance against Zepeda that Eddie Hearn's getting fooled into, you know, what the athletic ability when he's not looking past that is these guys' mentalities, how bad they want it. I remember seeing something about Sergey Kovalev when he was coming up. I think before he fought Andre Ward, one of those 24/7 all access things. And he would talk about how he was in the gym and how he would see other guys in the gym when he was younger, like 14, 15. As he was growing up, he said there's a lot of guys that were way more talented than me in the gym. They were better than me. They could beat me up. But like my coach would tell you, he's like, they just stopped coming to the gym. I just kept showing up, and that's why I ended up being who I am. And, the consistency is more important than the actual talent level. So it's like this guy Eddie Hearn's getting fooled into. So I don't know what it is about him, but he really thinks these guys are going to be that. He's really trying to find Floyd in the rough, and bro, no, you're not going to find him again. Nobody wants that shit.
You're bringing a very good point. We gotta take more phone calls, but I want to touch upon this. Do you guys remember that super featherweight boxer that Eddie Hearn was trying to promote? What was his name again?
Yeah.
Devin
The
Farmer?
guy with the one eye, Devin Farmer.
The wild eye?
Devin Farmer, yeah. That guy was extreme. Now, we're talking here a guy with no fucking power who was extremely boring. And yet, despite those, those handicaps that he had, Eddie Hearn was trying to promote this guy. He was trying to shove him down our throats. Why? Because he's an American boxer. That's the only.
And that's an irony because he already had losses, and supposedly with that style, they favor the dudes that got the O because there's a sense of a mystery. Can he be defeated? But that guy had already like 3 or 4 losses.
Exactly. He didn't even have to know. And still, Eddie Hearn, these guys, you think because they're successful promoters or the best promoter that they know everything. And they everything's calculated. Every decision that they make is has been calculated properly. No, these people make mistakes, or these people also sometimes believe in all this hype about American boxers. Like, oh, you're gonna find a Mayweather, right? You just gotta polish that diamond, and eventually it's gonna shine. And no, some of these guys are fucking boring. Mayweather is an exception. They don't understand Mayweather. You will never have another Mayweather. You will never have another boxer with his boxing style that was boring as fuck become a huge success. Again, for Floyd Mayweather, the stars aligned. The stars aligned for Floyd. He fought De La Hoya. There was Pacquiao in the mix. You had Miguel Cotto. You had a bunch of Mexican Americans. You had Latinos there. He had a bunch of opportunities for a bunch of opponents basically, where he could stink up the joint and people would still be interested. But for this up and comer boxers that want to fight like Floyd, those opportunities are not going to present themselves. All right.
Yeah, and they'll never put him against another dude that gets on the back foot either, obviously, because it's not an exciting fight. It won't sell. People don't want to watch that, but they will put 2 aggressive fighters against each other because obviously that's exciting. But the thing, if you really want to test his talent, and he's thinking it out, he's thinking out the joint against a guy that does come forward, but still it's easier to play it safe and win those fights. But if you really want to test his talent, because we got to be fair, you got to face all styles. Put him up against another back foot fighter. If that has to be a black guy, we'll put him against that dude, 2 Americans with O's, and see who wins. But they won't do that because it's boring. But trust me, in the end of the day, that's better for us boxing fans. Why? Because they'll cancel each other out. And instead of these 2 guys taking their own route and keep stinking out the joint individually and providing boring fights, well, one of them will get canceled out and we will watch less fights in the long run.
Exactly.
You know what they're scared of, Gonzalo? You know what they're scared of if they do that? If they put 2 black undefeated Americans together, they're scared of getting a Timothy Bradley versus Devin Alexander again.
Oh, great fucking point.
Unification.
That's what they're scared of.
Big unification fight.
Yeah, that was they were marketing that, man. That was going to be a good one, and it turned into a clinch fest. And I think that's, or sometimes you get fights like Corey Spinks versus Ab Judah, and that was a fairly entertaining fight, the first one. But even the because they were, at least at the end, it turned interesting. But for most of the fight, it was just 2 guys looking at each other, missing with jabs. If
Bernard
you like these jabs,
Bernard Hopkins against Mickey Wright.
They called that yeah.
I remember I went to a bar to watch that with some friends. I mean, the big mistake I made. Jesus Christ, that was fucking.
But I'll say this, man, because I usually try to analyze, and think about what makes a mainstream boxer. What's the way to transcend the sport of boxing? And you hear a lot of people say, well, Mayweather, that the reason why he was popular was because people paid to see him lose. And I go, where do people get that evidence from? They look at, well, Mayweather got a lot of hate because he brought it on himself, by the way. And then they deduct, oh, well, a lot of people were paying to watch him, therefore, and a lot of people hated him, therefore the people who hated him were paying to watch him lose. That's a bit of a reach there. Because, in fact, if you look at Mayweather, he started little by little becoming a bit of a name. When he fought Gatti, I think that fight did 500,000 pay-per-view buys, something like that. But prior to that, he was doing horrible numbers. I mean, just 2 years earlier, he fought the Dominican dude, Sosa. And he fought him in Miami, and it was barely 3,000 people showed up to watch him. So if you account the number of hardcore boxing fans that wanted to see him fight someone good, it was probably like 500,000. The other 500,000 that would occur whenever he would fight a big name were casuals who got bamboozled into thinking he was some sort of a Muhammad Ali type figure, and they're thinking, oh, we're going to watch an entertaining boxing match. And more often than not, that's not what he was. And that's why his numbers started going down until he fought Pacquiao, because nobody really wanted to see him fight or Victor Ortiz. People, that's the one where they started playing with the numbers. They said that fight had done 900,000 pay-per-view buys, but there was no real
they said
proof of that.
Robert Guerrero fight did 800,000.
No, I mean, I don't see it. See, it's the same thing with Pacquiao at that time. People just wanted Pacquiao and Mayweather to fight each other, and if they weren't going to fight each other, people weren't willing. The casuals weren't willing to pay for it anymore. So this whole thing about how, well, these guys start playing up the villain angle to get fans. There's plenty of fighters out there that boxing fans dislike, and they're not paying to watch them fight. Neither are the casuals. So that whole theory of, well, it's the villain gets the money, it hasn't been proven correct. Conor McGregor, that's the other one. People look at him, they go, well, he was the villain, and that's why he became a big star. No, he became, I mean, that could have been partially it, but it was also because he was knocking people out. And so you see a lot of these UFC fighters, they started trying to, after McGregor, you started seeing a bunch of McGregor clones. These guys started to try to trash talk, and some of it was cringe, by the way. These guys they were inarticulate, they were boring, and it was cringe watching them try to play up this villain angle, and it didn't work for them. Because it has to be natural, and you have to be entertaining in the octagon and in the ring. It's a business. It's an entertainment business. You got to entertain the people.
I agree. Yeah. At the end of the day, you
got to entertain. If nobody's watching, nobody cares. Right? And I would say they did find themselves a Mayweather, right? But it's just so obvious the maneuvers they're doing that no one's buying it for the most part. Like this guy, Gervonta Davis, they're trying to maneuver him like they maneuvered Floyd Mayweather, but actually a lot more careful because Floyd actually had some talent in this kid. This other dude, he hasn't fought anybody in the top of his weight class in any weight class that he's touched except
and
130.
It's not working out.
He was on his way to being exposed. Like his numbers were going down, and people were just not buying his shit no more until he fought Ryan, and that really gave him a boost back up in his fame. So he might be able to parlay that into further success. But before that, people were already tired of his shit, and people are still kind of tired of it. And also want to address one of these comments. I think Larry Lopez, you're saying Richardson was doing exactly what he should have done in the ring. Bro, if you're undefeated and you want to make a statement, you want to get a title shot, you want people to watch you, if you're so much better than your opponent that you're beating him with jabs, you're just taking a back step and jabbing and throwing an occasional cross, you should go ahead and go in there and take him out and knock him out because you look bigger and stronger in the ring than him. You taking the easy way out doing that for 10, 12 rounds, bro. No one's going to want to watch you, bro. It's a spectator sport, bro. If no one watches, no one cares.
And that's a good point. At this point in his career, he's fighting Zepeda. Okay, he's older. Zepeda's older. He's a veteran. But this isn't a career-defining fight. No, this is a step-up fight. You're supposed to knock out this guy, and maybe eventually, when Hitchens fights the champion of the division, maybe he can fight like this. He's playing it a little bit safe. He just wants to get the win. He wants to win the title. This isn't a title fight. This is Zepeda. Knock him out. Make a statement.
That's right. Freaking Baranchik had him on the canvas like 4 times. Yeah. You could kind of say he got lucky. He got the last punch in and he stopped Baranchik. Right. But this guy's been down before. That's what he said. He's probably Cheney. I can probably take him out of there. But he said that and he kind of reneged on that. He took it back because he said, I felt his power. I didn't see him really feel his power. So that tells me it was all scripted. I'll tell the fans later. Yeah. Okay. I changed my mind. No, you were determined to go in there from the beginning and make it into a boring fight. You ain't conning nobody.
Yeah, you gotta keep it real. Keep it. I mean, you said you want to do this. Try and do it. At least try. Maybe you don't get it, but you tried. He didn't try. He didn't fucking try. Joe Biscuit, thank you for your contribution. He says Joyce with the UK Wilder mid-level skills, but with a gift. Wilder took long to expose due to being more useful than a chin. Wilder took long to expose due to power being more useful than a chin. That's a good point. I mean, Wilder did have that power, but still, skill-wise, very mid-level.
Hey,
It's
by the
like
way,
you
can
got
I-
another guy in that division, right? What's his name? Barbosa.
No.
Guy's a Mexican, and no one gives him credit. That's the guy that beat Sorria unanimously. All his fights, he's won them unanimously. I looked at his record. He's got knockouts too. But then nobody mentions his name. But Sergio Mora, when this guy's thinking out the joint, he can't do no wrong.
Yeah, I mean Sergio
Sergio Mora
Mora
is-
is.
I wanna
He's
talk
always.
about him
I mean,
later.
he had under 10 knockouts during his careers. I think.
Oh, that's
so
why.
It's also. It's unsurprising that he relates to the guy who refuses to put it pedal to the metal. But I want to say something about Deontay Wilder, because some people are gonna hear us. We criticized him earlier and his skills, and he was knocking people out. Now we're criticizing a guy who's got boxing skills but who doesn't knock people out. So people are gonna say, well, which one? What do you want? Well, I'll finish saying my point later, Bucho. Go ahead, take the phone
Yeah, let's
call.
take a phone call because this guy has been waiting for a long time. 619, you're on the air. 619.
Yeah, what's up, guys? It's Jose.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, man. What's up, man? Yeah, I watched the fights, man. So basically, pretty much, they did a good job of matchmaking with Zepeda or studying him at this point in his career because, yeah, man, he didn't want to trade with them. And Zepeda got frustrated. The headbutt, I think there was elbows, too. And like, the guy, he has, like, the frame of a welterweight, man. So, and they're even telling you in the transmission, everybody that's lost to Zepeda is because they made a mistake. So this guy went in there with the mentality of not making a single mistake, of not trading at all. He only tried to like go for it a little bit at the end, but that's because Zepeda was already frustrated, and it also seemed like Zepeda was playing possum a little too, because he didn't want to exchange whatsoever, man. So that's my take on that fight, and but also it's not a fair comparison because Floyd Mayweather at the beginning of his career was pretty boy, and he used to like have offense, So these guys are coming in. This guy's like way taller than Mayweather, he should be like a welterweight, and he's playing. He's fighting like if he's Money Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? So basically, the zone yesterday was like introducing this guy, like okay, this is this guy. He spars with Davis, and like basically trying to like that's what the zone does. Try to bring in these new fighters and force them on us. So that's my take on that. And Sinaloita and Ben, I heard him talking backstage, and they both fight at welterweight, man. None of this that Sinaloita's a bigger fighter. No, I think he even started at 118. And they were saying, yeah, they just I don't know. It wasn't like I think it was a short notice or something like that. That's why. So they both took it at that weight. So that's my call.
All right, thanks for calling, Jose. Yeah, call back again next time.
He brings up the good point. I mean, people forget when Floyd Mayweather was pretty boy at 130, he was doing some damage.
Well, he was saying Orozco.
But what I was going to say about...
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're right, man. You're talking about Orozco was fucking huge, man. And they were fighting with 10-ounce gloves, too, by the way.
He's saying they were like, Orozco wasn't that big. He was saying he wasn't that big. Like they were fighting at, he actually moved up in weight at some point. But he looked bigger, so I don't know. He looked bigger. No? But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, the thing about Wilder is, because some people say, well, wait, I mean, when Wilder knocks people out, you criticize him. And then when Hitchens wins a decision, you criticize it. But see, I think people are missing the point. It's not about just the end goal, getting the knockout. It's how do you look in getting that knockout. And that's the thing with Deontay Wilder. He was too boring himself, despite scoring knockouts. There were times where he again, that's another guy who liked fundamentals to get on the inside or to let his hands go. And he would just wait. And then, boom, he would catch these lummoxes who had no skills either, by the way. Like a guy like Gerald Washington, sorry, man, but that dude is not skilled. Very rudimentary. Took up boxing later in his life.
He was outboxing Wilder.
Wilder. Yeah, man, that's the thing. So there's such a thing as getting the knockout, but like somebody had called in earlier, and you mentioned as well, which was being able to work your way in and working the other guy, outworking the other guy on your way to a knockout. Putting some pressure, cutting off the angle, suffocating the other guy. It takes a lot of skill to be able to do that. The state of the art guys like Julio Chavez, Golovkin, even early on, Lomachenko. The reason why he was looking invincible at 126, 130, because he was fighting guys his own size, and he was suffocating them with pressure, feints, punches from all angles. And I understand that not everybody can do that, but when you've got the physical gifts of a guy like Hitchens, you should be able to try to put it together and know how to walk a guy down. But he's not that type of fighter. And so that's why I tell people, look, if you're going to be buying Hitchens fights from now on or watch, because you are paying for the zone, so you're essentially paying to watch him, don't expect him to all of a sudden turn into what you want him to be. Go in there expecting that this guy is going to boss. So if you want to watch a guy punch on his way, maybe running a little bit, shaking his ass, that's what you're going to get with Hitchens. So stop trying. In other words, I'm blaming people too, because they're going to keep criticizing this guy. It's like, what type of fighter he is now. Don't watch him if you don't like it.
In the chat, we have Jaden Anthony. He says, where did that pressure from Chavez do against Pernell Whitaker?
Well, I mean, these are the same type of people that say that the Haney body shots won him the fight against Lomachenko. So we watched that fight. Chavez was working that body, man.
I think Whitaker was really like running in that fight a lot of. But go ahead, Gonzalo.
And we also got to keep this in mind. I think that maybe moving forward, they will put Hitchens against somebody that can punch, and he will look like a puncher. Somebody that's walking that dude down and looking like $1 million and kind of like bringing it back to where, maybe he is exciting. But that's because it's probably going to be careful matchmaking. What I'm saying, if you're fighting dudes that can crack, take the risk with those guys because people are not fools. Maybe in the grand scheme of things, a lot of casuals won't pick up on that shit. But I'm just saying, man, they try to pull the wool over the fans' eyes sometimes, these matchmakers.
Yeah, and the comments.
Hey, excuse me. What? Yeah, excuse me. I got to criticize you, Bucho, a little bit.
Yes.
I got to criticize you guys a little bit. There was women fighting last night. You haven't talked about that.
Yeah, I saw a comment. I didn't even know.
I can talk on, what's her name, McCatskill?
No, hey, hell, never sober. I was kidding. Please don't. Let's not go.
Yeah, I remember in the undercard. There was an undercard fight. I didn't watch. All right, moving on. Oh yeah, I just wanted to mention something. Okay, in the Orozco Ben fight, you had what's his name again? Sergio Mora saying that this is Mexican style. Mexican style. Okay, and then people start assuming that Mexican style is what Orozco was doing. But Orozco is a very limited boxer. Like, is that the best example of Mexican style? He was just a guy coming forward that had balls and had a heart to do that. That's it. That's not Mexican style. I mean, that's not
stereotypical Mexican style that is seen in the United States. The all balls, no brains kind of style. That's what I call it.
Exactly.
I mean, he looked like Randy Johnson, that pitcher that's like 6'7" tall, but this guy's like 6'1", but he looked like a giant. So basically winding up and loading with every shot. And the corner was telling them, they were imploring him, you got to point to the chest. Because if you got to land, you got to be more accurate. Because with those wild swinging shots, all you got to do is move your head a little bit out of the way and you're not going to hit the target. There's too much space in between you and the other fighter that once that hand flies, it's not a straight punch. It's like this fucking long-ass hook. You're going to miss. And he was missing all night. When he was landing is when he was getting closer to him. And granted, he's a taller guy, and it's a little bit more difficult for a guy with longer arms to box with the dude on the inside. But when he was actually getting in close, he was landing. Right? So he's green, in my opinion.
Yeah, but still, that's Mexican style. Like, no, it's just a guy with limited skills that would, had heart.
And that guy, who was saying that the whole time? What's his name? Sergio Mora? That guy, he's a weirdo. He likes to separate himself from other Mexicans. And he I don't know, he's strange. he is someone that likes to kind of talk in a condescending way about other Mexicans.
Hmm.
You know, he's one of those
There's a
types.
clip there's a clip of way back in the day when he was in the Contender Series, in 2005, I want to say. He was sparring a prime Margarito, and you see, okay, before that, Margarito was sparring two guys that day. So he sparred Mora first, and then Marco Antonio Rubio, who's from Mexico, like full on paisa. So he's fighting Mora, and Mora's doing his fucking fighting like Joe Calzaghe, hands down, switch hitting. He starts as soon as he 2 rounds in, he's tired. He starts clinching a lot, and Margarito is just taking a little bit easy on him, but he's beating him down. Then Rubio comes in, and okay, granted he was a little bigger than Mora. No, actually, I think he was smaller than Mora. Hands up, and just classic boxing skill, starts doing better than Margarito. Now, granted, Margarito had sparred 3 rounds earlier, but you just saw that difference. Mora trying to fight in an ass style, and it didn't work out against Margarito. Meanwhile, the other guy, classic style, hands up, a little bit more flat-footed, but still showing boxing skill. So, yeah, this whole thing about, please spare me the whole Mexican style thing. I mean, Salvador Sanchez, Miguel Canto, Finito Lopez, the Marquez brothers, Canelo, Juan Francisco Estrada. I mean, Morales. How many fucking guys do you want to see before you start realizing that there is such a thing as training but having boxing skills at the same time? It's either or fallacy.
If what Orozco showed you last night was Mexican style, Mexico would never have a single world champion.
You know what was a real good one? A Mexican American, kind of like Lomachenko with the angles, or Orlando Canizales.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. He was fucking amazing, man. The body, and he would go to the body with his left. People do those videos there where they talk about his footwork and the proto Lomachenko. But when he would go to the body with that left hook, jeez, Luis, I mean that was some.
And you know who didn't have a Mexican style? El Títere Vázquez, remember?
See, yeah, that's the thing though. Boxing Mexican fans were about as hardcore as it gets for the most part, and we don't like back foot bitches either. Miguel, like you said, Títere Vázquez. Nobody really wanted to see that dude fight. Because he would see that fight when he fought Mercito Gesta, who lost recently against Zepeda. That was one of the most boring fights I've ever seen. And I said, okay, you're tricky, whatever, but you're fucking boring, man. Why would I pay you to watch you fight?
Yeah, it's not about black, white, brown, whatever. It's like you're boring. Yeah. That's it. Simple as that.
It's like the Vargas, the dude that looks like El Chupacabras. He's kind of boring too. The dude that fought Maxayo.
Yeah. Great point, Gonzalo. That's another dude that we don't really want anything to do with. I forgot to mention Fernando Montiel. He was another. Well, he had a very unorthodox style, but nevertheless, he wasn't a come forward guy. He would just put hands up and hit me 2 times so I can hit you once. I think the stereotype started with guys like Ruben Olivares, who's an all-time great, by the way. But he was a wild guy. He was like. He fought in the 60s and 70s, but it seemed as if he came out in the 1920s because he would party, he would smoke, and then he would show up to the fight, knock your ass out, and go back to partying. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the big stereotype started. And then you guys had like Jose Luis Ramirez. He was another come forward guy that whose defense wasn't all that great. So, but I understand though. Like, listen, because most Mexican fighters, they are taught to, hey, you got to go get it. You got to go for it. You got to work for it. So there is the stereotypes are true to a certain extent, but I understand what Bucha was saying because he's talking about Mexican style, but that's not, Mexican style. It's like if you see a Afro Anglo running, not doing anything and just running and clinching, and you go, well, that's American style. Well, that's a facet of the American style, but it's not the full-on American style.
All right.
You know,
you're not gonna win. You're not gonna create world champions if you're fighting like that, right?
Exactly.
Like you can't just run and win titles, of course not. And people forget you had guys like Tommy Hearns, but I do believe that the American boxing style is now changing and it's becoming this type of Andrew Ward style, where clinching is part of the plan, of the technique, is clinching and the hooks. It's like basically they're slapping a little bit. They're not really turning on those hooks. The elbows slightly a little bit like low. And I don't know, BDA. Do you understand what I'm saying here? I don't know if I'm explaining this.
Yeah, and
I was gonna say, BDA, you left out. We got defensive masters in the Mexican community too. You got Canelo, and you got guys like Venado Lopez mastering the shoulder roll. using their feet in the ring, you know?
Well, I did mention Canelo, but yeah, Venado. That's Don Chingas has made a good point. He says, wait, I don't know if you were kidding or not now with that laugh, but Don Chingas says he did bring up the good point that Venado Lopez he's working on defense, and now people are shitting on him. But I mean, listen, I understand why I shit on Venado too a little bit because there was a point where he was doing more defense than actual fucking punching. You got to be able to do both. So, but I was gonna say about the Bucho was talking about the modern stuff. Listen, what I dislike nowadays from a lot of fighters is win at all costs. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And clinching, it has to stop. People look at Sonny Edwards. He's going to be fighting soon.
Mm-hmm.
Watch his fight against Felix Alvarado. I believe you can find it on Daily Motion. Anyway, the point is, he's clinching a lot. And people say, yeah, well, it's up to the fighter to do something about it. It's up to the opponent to do something. Well, Alvarado whenever Edwards would clinch him, Alvarado would place the top of his head against Edwards' chin. I don't know why I was doing it while I was saying, as if you guys could see it. But the point is, he did that. And what happened? Fucking referee started warning him about it. Hey, watch your head, watch your head. It's like, well, what the fuck is he supposed to do now then? The other guy's breaking the rules, you can't. So that's why it's up to guys like us to point it out. Now, people can say we're crying about it. People can say we're complaining. But guess what? There's not much else we can do. Because there's other people out there that they go along with it. The sheep, the people that get hypnotized and mesmerized, the people that don't know the rules. You guys go ahead and do what you got to do. We're trying to point out, because again, look, people say, well, the clinching. Well, why are you so bent on getting rid of the wrestling, which is illegal? Because if once you get rid of it, it makes for cleaner, more entertaining fights. And now we get to see who really is the best boxer. Case in point, I always bring up this example: Vladimir Klitschko versus Brian Jennings. Klitschko made a career out of clinching his way, and the Germans they seem to love it. These guys, there was a lot of mass rape once they lost World War II, so maybe they're into that type of sexual assault type of thing. A lot of clinching, a lot of chest to chest gyrating. But once he fought Jennings in the United States, and he was clinching, the referee finally did his job and took a point away from Klitschko, and now Klitschko couldn't clinch. And what happened? Day and night, the difference from one round to the next. Klitschko started getting nervous. He looked like the Klitschko from 2004, running all over the place. He started blinking rapidly. You could see his heart was beating faster. And all of a sudden, it became a more interesting fight because the referee enforced the rules. So a lot of people complain about how boxing is being beat by the UFC. Fucking enforce the rules, and I guarantee you, it's going to help a lot. A lot. Get rid of the clinching. It stinks. It's toxic.
We got to talk more. We got to do a special show on that and talk about some of the things that have to change in boxing, especially what happens inside the ring with the referees, because I see people in the chat as well, mentioning how the referees are part of the problem. All right, let's take a phone call here. 619, you're on the air.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Hey, well, I would classify a Mexican style as the opposite of what Hitchens did. That's like for example, you could take the Navarrete versus Valdez fight. Like that was like Mexican style, because that was the two Mexicans going at it, going to war. So it lived up to the hype. They even stole the thunder. Errol Spence versus Crawford was supposed to be like this big old Hagler versus Hearns, and well, it didn't pan out, and so that's what I think. Mexican style is when you go in there, willing to trade, the grit. You know what I'm saying? You can have defense, because defense, Mexican style, it's not that you don't have any defense like rock and talking, but it's a lot of offense and burying punches. I think that guy Sinaloita fought a pretty good fight, but he's like it was a good matchmaking, because he was like, although he's tall, he would fight a lot on the inside. He didn't use his height. He would fight like a smaller guy, but and on the exchanges, he's kind of bigger arms, so he couldn't if he only learned how to fight at mid range a little better, he would have had more of a chance. But he was bringing it to Conor Benn, so that's my call.
All right, good point. Yeah, that's a good Navarrete Mexican style, but that has skills, behind it. All right, Jose, thanks for calling. All right, take care. Yeah, so what were we talking about? I mean, yeah, Mexican style, the referees, we hate all that clinching. And somebody in the chat is mentioning here, he says Hitchinson is hugging in danger. What do you guys think about these boxers that when they're in danger, they immediately hug?
I don't have a problem with if someone's trying to survive, they get rocked. You gotta
Right.
get. I mean, I'm not gonna criticize somebody if they're dazed. You know, if they're about to fall down, they're trying to do whatever they can to stay up. But if the second you're put into the corner, your first defensive reaction is to grab the dude and then hold him till the referee comes. Bro, you're not boxing, dude. You're stalling.
Exactly.
That's how I see it.
I 100%. If you're hurt, you're like, all right, you're trying to clinch, you're trying to survive. But if you're like put in a corner and as soon as you start getting trapped into a corner, you clinch. That means that you should be okay. You can clinch, but I'm gonna give the run to the other guy probably because he's putting you in a situation where you are forced to clinch. You can't fight your way out of that situation. So ring generalship will go to the other guy, the one who's putting on the pressure. That's how it works. That's how it should work. I don't know. Gonzalo, any thoughts on this? I think you've talked about this before.
I think clinching, he started doing it, Hitchens, I mean.
Yeah,
And in the latter part of the fight, because he was trying to buy time, run out the clock. So you're trying to run out the clock, and it's just not a good look. With the more experienced fighter that's got the killer instinct, if you start grabbing at him, he's going to be thinking, okay, it's the opposite of a poker face. This motherfucker don't want to exchange because he's a little bit afraid. He's nervous. So what that's telling the other fighter, hey, if I believe in myself, I'm going to go after this dude because this dude's scared. It's going to catch up to him eventually if he keeps doing that too.
I think that's
a guy that can fight on the inside, no butcher, that keep one arm free and can fight off the clinch. He could be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this was the fight where Hitchens should have tried to test some things, see how good he is on the inside, maybe. Try to go for a stoppage because there might come a point in his career where he's gonna have to maybe try and go for a knockdown or a stoppage. He was fighting Zepeda again. This was supposed to be a stepping stone. He was fighting a gatekeeper, and he showed us that yes, he can box, but he doesn't seem to want to take any risks. And again, also eventually in a big fight, he's gonna have to take risks. So I think he wasted this opportunity. He played it very safe, and I was just disappointed. Anything else, guys? The phones are open if you wanna call in. Let's read the chat, I guess. Let's see what we got here. The blame boxing says against a guy with power. No, you shouldn't text your you didn't. I guess you shouldn't test your inside game. Gonzalo, what do you think about that? If you're fighting a guy with power, you shouldn't go in there and test your. I mean, Zepeda is not Mike Tyson either, right? He's not a super big puncher.
How scared are you? Hey, bro.
Yeah, come on.
What I don't know what people are trying to insinuate or assume. This is boxing. This is fighting. This is what people want to fucking watch, right? It's kind of like saying, okay, I want to take a fucking bath, but I don't want to get wet. You're gonna get fucking wet. All right. If you're trying to play it safe, that's gonna take something away from the performance, man. Whether people like to admit that or not, I don't know why all this fucking like overprotection about trying to look like you cannot be beat, dude. That's like super fucking stupid or crazy to me.
In the chat, Larry Lopez says, "Why take a risk when you don't have to?" Here's the thing, though. Hey, Gonzalo, why would a stoppage win for Hitchens? What would that have done to his psyche, to his how do you call it? I'm losing words here, but like, wouldn't he be more motivated for in the future? Go like, oh shit, I have it in me.
Give him confidence.
Yes, confidence. That's the word, exactly. Confidence.
Give him hype.
That's what I mentioned. Yeah, it's true.
Eddie Hearn would play those replays over and over on his next fight. It would give them, more fuel to hype him up for the next fight. You need that shit, bro. What are they gonna show? Him jabbing Zepeda? No, they're gonna show him. They're gonna show an old knockout where he looks sensational.
It's
a couple fights ago.
Great fucking point.
Yeah, that's true. But it would have built confidence, because once you put it to the test and you actually like convince yourself that you could do it in an actual fight, you're gonna do it again, man. You're just gonna it's gonna become like an addiction to you. I can get the knockout. I can run the risk. I'm not saying that he can. He probably, the way he was looking, I think Sober said, and my brother mentioned it. He was the bigger guy, dude. He's got the ability to do that, but he didn't want to try it out. So he's taking like these baby steps, and it's hurting
his career,
his popularity too, because it would also benefited him. I think the word is exponentially. Instead of being like this normal type of fighter, everybody would have been like, "Wow, man, he can mix it up." Now, not only does he have boxing skills, he got the dog.
the dog is very important, and we're not. I'm not saying that Hitchens should have gone in head first. You didn't trade like a like Maidana or something. I mean, this is people start confusing things. You can actually go for the knockout and work it. You know, we're like move your head, try to get on the inside, set up a good punch. You don't have to go in wailing to get a stoppage. You know, just like going crazy and throw like windmill punches. No, of course not. All right, let's go for a phone. Let's take a phone call, guys.
Yeah, but if you throw the perfect punch, like what's a perfect punch, for example, with technique? Like when Povetkin knocked out Dillian White. If you throw it accurately and you just go in there for the kill, who's to say you don't get a spectacular knockout? Does that mean you were wild? No, it just means that you employed your technique to perfection, and you ran the risk. And not only did you land a clean shot, you blew that dude out of the water.
Right, you see,
and all the while that dude couldn't get a piece of you, but you did to him.
Yeah, you start putting pressure. You start seeing what your opponent's doing, how he lands his hands. You find an opening. You know, Povetkin noticed that I can actually land that uppercut, and he did. But you know, those openings are gonna be like you're gonna notice those openings, but you have to do something too. You can't just be on the back foot. Those openings, you will not be able to see them. 301, you're on the air. 301.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I wanted to. I didn't watch like most of this Hitchens fight. I kind of tuned out after the third round because of the obvious. It was getting pretty boring. But I noticed. I mean, he was a pretty sharp guy. He had a good 1-2. He started landing in the second round, but he just strikes me as the kind of dude that, like a lot of these fighters, I suspect, are just on steroids, and that stuff works for them early on, where they can land one of those set punches with conviction and get the guy out of there. But they don't have that many skills, so they run out of ideas quick. That's why they always have to clinch, because they don't really have like the ability to mix ranges and mix up their style. They just have like this one go-to thing. If that doesn't work, they're kind of lost.
Good point.
But I didn't want to riff on this note of like Mexican style or whatever. Like, it's true that Mexicans have certain quintessential elements, like how they rake their hooks. Like, a case in point would be, I saw this awesome video of Finito Lopez sparring, where like it's like an hour of him training. And he's this very methodical fighter. Like, he's not a typical Mexican at all. Because he has a lot of pressure, obviously, but he was very technically sound. But he would rake that hook like all the other Mexicans. But I think, like, beyond that, right, it's just a cultural or like an attitude thing where most people think of fighting as imposing your will on the other guy, you know? They don't think of it as just surviving. Like a lot of these fighters who have good promoters just think, okay, if I just outland them slightly, cruise to a decision, that's good enough, protect my record. They don't seem to like enjoy being in there and hurting the other guy, you know, and like taking punches and working into a fight.
That's boxing. That's what boxing should be, in my opinion.
Exactly. Like you mentioned, like, you know, Hearns and Leonard and these fighters of old, they would get their knockouts through like virtue of just finding their range, finding their timing, and they just had skills because they were fighting often enough at an early developmental phase where they could just throw a punch without having to put so much on it, and it would just land right at a vulnerable part because they just got the range well and the timing. And then obviously they were very athletic, and it worked for them. But you don't see that happening too often with these like high prospects, just because they're, I think, like they're overly like committed to sparring in the gym, but when it comes to like fighting, they treat like every fight as like a Super Bowl or something. You know, they put like too much emphasis on not getting hit. Remember, like Charlo was saying that after the Castano draw, that when he rocked Castano, he was like, "Oh, I was hurt less than him." But that was all he cared about. You know, he didn't care whether he imposed his will. He just cared about not getting hurt as much.
Yeah.
So I think that's just like an attitude difference that separates these guys. And I believe that kind of attitude, like, it creates too much anxiety, and that's why they're prone to getting hurt. That's why when they get hurt, they don't, like, recover. I mean, I'm sure there are genetic differences that separate people, but I think if you've fought long enough, you have enough of a chin to be able to recuperate. I mean, that's why boxers, they train for more than just being able to throw punches for 12 rounds. They train for getting hit. They train for missing. You have to train for all these unexpected things. But these guys, they seem to just coast on the 1-2 grab. But, you know, anyway, I just conclude on my favorite riff here. You know, Hitchens, he's 25. You know, he's young, so a lot of fights in his division. And, yeah, down the line, we'll see what makes sense, you know. He'll talk to his team. And, well, first of all, you know, I'd like to thank God. Without God, you know, this phone call wouldn't even happen, right? And this fight wouldn't happen. So,
Al Heyman.
Yeah, so, yeah, down the line, we'll see what he can do.
Thank Al Heyman. Thank Al Heyman.
Yep, thank Al Heyman. Yeah, thank you, Al Heyman. All right.
All right, caller, thanks for calling, all right? Take care. Call back again. All right, let's take another phone call here. 336, you're on the air.
You know, I just want to add something real quick. You know, a lot of these American boxing media, whether it be LDBC or normal media. Wait, is my audio okay, by the way? I have my AirPods in.
No, it sounds a bit weird. I don't know what you did, but now you sound different.
Oh, fuck. Give me a second. Fuck. I'm turning off the Bluetooth right now.
All right, is this better?
All right, go ahead.
Yo, is this better? Okay, cool. So with these, like with the American media and all this shit, they just award people for doing the bare minimum. That's just the reality of it. They glorify people doing the bare minimum nowadays. And particularly, this is American fighters. They move the goalposts for foreign fighters if they're not black to go above and beyond and show out and above and beyond, and they still downplay it. And they got people like Hitchens or Shakur or Haney that do nothing or get gift decisions, and they overglorify it. But they got people like Subaru Matthias who are black. You know, you would think, oh, they're pro-black. Matthias is skilled. He doesn't load up. He punches probably only 6 inches to a foot apart, you know, and he never pulls his punches, doesn't do anything. He throws sometimes 3-4 at a time. He has good shot placement. He's actually entertaining as fuck to watch. I really enjoy watching Matthias fight. He doesn't get talked about by no one. They talk about these fucking ass Americans that come to do the bare minimum and stink out the joint. And you got people like Matthias, so only because he has one loss on his record, he fucking avenged it. He's knocked out everyone he's ever fought, including the guy that beat him.
Dora,
he doesn't get shit.
Why should Hitchens take a risk when he has a fight under control and he's winning?
Because that's what makes you great. That's what makes you a draw. See, this is my opinion on this, and this is the opinion of most hardcore fans. If you go, let's say the fight is done at the 12th round, you're up 6-5, and you knock that dude out, that is way more fucking impressive to me, even if it's a fucking close fight, than stinking out the joint and shutting out a guy. Because at the end of the day, that guy that you didn't stop was able to stand up next to you and say, and you have to, you know, have that conversation with yourself. He could still fight back. If you stop a guy, they can't fucking fight back. Or if you make them quit, there is a more definitive way to beat somebody than to stop someone. That's what makes you a star. That's what makes you great, when you stop high-level competition, high-level champions. That's why I don't rate Pernell Whitaker that highly, because the first time he fought legitimate opponents, he lost. I mean, in the reality, he lost. I mean, he probably should have beat Julio Cesar Chavez, but he low blowed him like crazy in the 5th and 6th round to start taking over the fight. He was low blowing, back foot cucking. He fights De La Hoya and Trinidad, 2 elite fighters, and he fucking loses. So, like, that's just it. I don't know. If you can stop champions, you get a lot of credit. Even if you lose at times,
Yeah, I
if you're able
agree.
to
Yeah,
stop
of
champions
course.
on a consistent basis, you're
that's
fucking
the
great,
different
man.
mentality. Some people believe that the O is more important. The undefeated record is more important. That they think that that's what gives you fame and money, being undefeated, and they get it
It's
all
not,
wrong.
bro. People that are undefeated just don't. They don't have the best resumes. Like, think about it. This is the reality. Chocolatito, Estrada, perhaps I'm not gonna quite put Ioka in there yet, but Loma. They all have better resumes than NOA, Usyk, or Crawford. That's just reality. They've all lost, yeah, but they got better resumes than those three guys. That's just what it is. I'm not saying these other guys are shit either, but they haven't fought the right competition. Well, they haven't fought competition that could test them like really, really well. And arguably, Usyk lost in one of his cruiserweight fights. I forgot to who, because I don't really follow cruiserweights like that. But he got a split decision win. A lot of people thought he lost, so at least he fought somebody. But in a way, he kind of skated past guys like Chocolatito, Quadras, Rungvisai, Estrada, and he fought cans at 115 or shot champions, and at 118 it was a pretty weak era aside of Nonito Donaire, who's past it. So when you fight legitimate fighters, you're going to lose. That's just reality. When you fight great fighters, you're not supposed to be undefeated. You go on the Ring magazine right now, you look at the 5 best fighters of all time. They've all fucking lost. There's a reason Floyd Mayweather isn't on there.
No, people who value the zero and the O, they're all they're new fans that came into the sport in the last maybe 10, 15 years when Floyd became popular.
Right.
That's it. Because before that, the O wasn't even that important. But all right, caller, we got to move on. Thanks for calling, all right? Take care.
Yeah. There's so many great fighters that lose early in their career. It's a normal thing. All right.
I agree. All right, see ya. All right, let's take another phone call. 619, you're on the air.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Hey, I think Mexican style also goes into like the punch selection, like the style that they actually fight in the ring, the punches they throw. Like for example, like that one guy said, like the raking hook to the body. You got a double left hand to the body, a lead right hand. Like Julio Cesar Chavez. You guys remember that fight with Andre Berto versus Soto Caras? That wasn't like a counter left hook that knocked him out. That's the same punch that Andy Ruiz knocked down Joshua with. So to me, even like that, it's like the style of fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the styles, that plays a part in.
It's not necessarily. It's boxing, man. It's boxing. Like that one counter left hook from that I just mentioned.
It's not just coming forward and putting pressure. That's Mexican
yeah,
style.
It's not just one definition, man. It's not just one definition. Just like Mexicans have their style of fighting. Why? Because they're Mexican. They're not going to be the same. No. And like black guys, they fight because they're all black. Although there's different styles within those styles. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're generalizing too much. I think this is what's happening. This style.
Yeah, but that's the point. Everybody, every boxing fan, every casual boxing fan always does that. They generalize, Mexican style, and then they jump on the bandwagon and they run with it, and it confuses everybody. You know what I'm saying? You got to be like a hardcore to these things. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. That's a good point. Yeah, we're generalizing too much. All right, Jose, anything else?
No, yeah, man, and that KO from Big Bang Zhang was vicious, man. He froze him with a straight left to the body, and he came over with the right, man. And since Zhang, I believe is he left-handed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, man. Like you got that. Like he does like the opposite of what other guys do. Like like Canelo, how he set up Amir Khan with a feint to the body, but that was like an overhand right. So you got this guy's left-handed. It's like inverted. You know what I'm saying? You even gotta like try to pay attention. Like, oh shit, where'd that punch come from?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. That was like a highlight reel, man. Like a heavyweight, demolition right there. Pretty cool.
It is it's like somebody said yesterday.
He fell face first too. Face first. I remember Timothy Bradley said, "Oh shit, he fell face first," kind of like a Paul William, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah,
similar.
Well, that means you're fucking out. You can't even put stop the fall with your arms.
It's like two trains crashing. Boom.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think about people who think it's blasphemous to say that Zhang can knock out Deontay Wilder?
Nah, man, Zhang is a good boxer. You know, a lot of people overlook the fact that these guys are Olympians, man. Whether you think they're not like this generation doesn't compare to the 80s or whatever, 90s, but these guys came through the Olympics. You know, they might not be as flashy, but you know, you know, they're good boxers. Freaking, I saw a lot of things. If you pay attention to what's going on, you know, like the way they kept their distance, and you know, they were boxing, you know. And Big Bang Zhang, he has good what do you call it? Reflexes. I could tell, man. He has good reflexes. He's pretty good.
Yeah, but you think? Do you think Zhang can beat Deontay Wilder?
Of course, man. He's a tough guy, man. He's
good.
huge too.
Because some people are like getting angry, saying, "No, there's no way that Zhang can win. Wilder's gonna land."
That's the whole point of the heavyweight division. Especially everything can end with one punch. Especially, I mean, Big Bang Zhang. Like, just look what he just did. I mean, that's the whole definition of the heavyweight boxing, the whole concept of it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. One punch can end it, and Zhang showed us that he has that punch that can end it. All right, Jose.
And if you guys, you're the guys that say that Deontay Wilder can't box. So if you add that to the equation, that Big Bang Zhang can box, or would you do? You know what I mean? So I think he beats him. You know,
I think he's a favorite. I think he's a favorite.
The fact that, well, it's you know, if Deontay Wilder doesn't you know, land that right hand or whatever, he's in trouble, because you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That would only be his only chance against Zhang, man. I think I think he's pretty good.
All right. Well, Jose, thanks for calling. All right. Take care.
All right. Salute, Jose. Take care, man.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we talked about everything at this point. Anything else you guys want to touch upon?
We got next week. What's your plan, Bucho? You're gonna do a few shows? I'm just asking.
Okay. Plan. We're gonna have multiple shows. Mr. BDA, I think he's gonna do a live stream. He has a video coming up, another analysis video, and then he's gonna do a live analysis video for the Canelo Charlo fight, obviously. And I'll be hosting some shows.
What about the show, Bucho? What about the show that Mr. BDA does about rate who's got the better left hand, who's got the better right hand, and so forth?
Oh yeah. I'm sure he's gonna do it. If he doesn't do it, I'll do it. Where if people who don't know, we basically compare both boxers, and we determine who has the better jab, who has the better right hand, who has more stamina, blah blah blah. So we're gonna do that. Oh, that's BDA.
I don't know if we should do that one. I think that was usually more for
what?
I don't know. Should we do that one?
Because
why you think so, BDA? Because of the different weight classes? Because you can't really compare at 68 or what?
That's a good point.
Because I do think Charles gonna back on muscle, and it's gonna be a more competitive fight than people think. But that's on paper. I don't know if that's in my mind. I don't know if that's gonna be true or not. So what do you guys think?
I don't know.
I was thinking the same thing too. Because on paper, you can't really say if that left hook's gonna look the same at 68. It could look better. I mean, it could look worse or it could look better or the same.
Well, I think that it made the fight look. I know we did it with the Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, and that made the fight look really clear and one-sided in Crawford's favor. We were kind of like, dang, you know. But then it ended up being like that.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of paints a good picture of what's gonna happen.
We can do it quickly. I mean, we can not spend 2 hours doing it. We just do it in 1 hour, 40 minutes. Why not?
Yeah, definitely gonna try to do that. The film analysis one, where I bring a bunch of clips.
We're gonna
to show people.
I told them. So you're gonna have a live stream where Mr. BDA is gonna break down their skills and stuff like that, film analysis, and then I'm gonna do a Friday show, Open Lines Friday, and possibly a special countdown show like the one we had for Spence and Crawford. So stay tuned for that. I guess that's pretty much it. Maybe we should end the show.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the Mexican Independence holiday weekend. So hopefully it takes the place of, because those fights last weekend with Venado, they weren't terribly exciting. So this would be actually like a celebration. What do you call it? A belated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, like
I don't
Canelo said
really-
when they asked him about Mexican independence, he said every day is Mexican Day to me.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. Who gives a shit? I don't care.
It's not only that fight. It's you have a whole bunch of fights that I'm excited for.
Yeah, we'll talk about all of those. All right, so guys, we're gonna have way more shows this week than compared to last one. So stay tuned for that. I want to thank everybody on the panel, and yeah, we'll see you next time. See ya. All right, guys, in the chat. Good show, and we'll see you next week. All right, take care. Oh, if we have a countdown show, bring your drinks. It's gonna be a drinking show. All right, that's gonna be taking place obviously on Saturday.